in this short video, we're going to be upgrading a Dell Precision, I think 3420 small form factor PC. Right here, I have a 1TB NVMe SSD. I also have 32GB of DDR4 RAM. This thing has become gold. If you do not believe it, you want to check this video here. It explains everything, the actual situation that we have found ourselves with DDR4 RAM. But this video is about upgrading this decent PC right here. First thing you have to do is to ensure that the PC is opened. Yes, a lot of you have since complained that why don't I have a top view of this thing I'm doing. Yes, I understand. I've seen your complaints. My camera got broken and I'm still trying to get a replacement for that. Definitely very soon I'm going to be shopping for a new camera. So what I want to do, I'm going to try to hold this PC like this and go ahead and slot in the RAM sticks and also try my possible best to see how I can actually, install this NVMe SSD in this position. Ideally, it shouldn't be, but stick with me. I hope you understand what I'm talking about. See, first things first, the cover has to be taken out, which I have just done. And the next thing you want to do, this is typical of Dell PCs, is that you want to go ahead, take out this front blade here, and to do that, there are pretty much just 3 clips holding it. You have to actually carefully take them apart. See, and just bring that out. This is pretty easy. All you have to do is to be careful, because if you try to rush pulling these clips out, you're going to break them and you are definitely going to be sorry. So when you have that, what you have to do next is to try to get hold of this caddy right here. This is the HDD caddy, but we do not need that because we have an NVMe SSD to install. So what I have to do is just to see how I can actually bring that out. So I'm going to try to first take out this one right here, which I do not need. Ideally, if I have to install an NVMe SSD and a HDD on this PC, this is when I will be needing this extra SATA cable. But then in a situation like this, all I have to do now is to click on this clip right here. I don't know if you can see that. It's just right there. You click on it and then you can actually pull out this caddy like that and gently take it out. Like I said, I think this PC also has a SATA SSD installed, but I do not need that anymore, so I'm going to definitely take that out. I'm going to come to that later. If you take a close look on the main board of this PC, you can see that there is an M.2 slot right there that you can actually go ahead and install this bad boy here. All right, so what I want to do is to unplug this from the carton just like that, perhaps a little bit more responsibly. But if you look back at my previous videos, this is how I tend to want to open my SSDs from the packaging. This is exactly how it looks. And if you have that in place, it's a 1TB M.2 PCIe Gen 4 SSD, decent condition, decent speed, and you want to go ahead and slot that right there on the NVMe slot. It's going to be difficult, but like I said, you kind of get a gist of what I'm trying to do here. If this still doesn't help you, please let me know in the comment section. I'm going to definitely make a closer shot, showing you exactly how it should be. This is how it should be. And then I'm going to get a screw right now and try to screw that down. See, the screw is just an SSD screw. Ideally, it should be on the PC mainboard, but on this particular PC, we do not have that there, but it shouldn't be a problem, to get a replacement screw, to make sure that the SSD is well held in place on the main board. All right, I have the screw right here. This is exactly what I was looking for. So what I want to do now is to all right, so if you have done it, it should be exactly like this. I'm just going to show you here. Take a look at it. This is kind of very, very easy. So thereafter, what you want to do next is to take out the RAM sticks right there. And to do that, there are these white knobs right there. You have to unplug them, push them a little bit to the right or to the left. Then if you've done that, you can gently slide out the RAM stick. Once again, these are DDR4 RAMs, 8GB Kingston. These have become gold. If you have it, please do not throw it away. Even though you are upgrading your system to a higher RAM, the lower RAM sticks that you have, please make sure you keep them, because you can actually go ahead and sell them and make a lot of money from doing that. So what I want to do now is to replace the RAM sticks. I've got, like I said, the 16GB module. The first one is going to come right here. Just going to push that in exactly the same way I brought out the first one. I'm going to push it down. Hear that clipping sound. That tells me that everything is kind of in. I'm going to take the other one. These are Samsung, like I said, 16GB, and I am going to go ahead and insert it right there. All right, clip, and that's the other sound right there. If you've done it, it should look exactly like this. So the next thing you want to do now is to go ahead and replace your caddy. So I'm going to hold it like this. I'm so sorry once again. The next video I'm going to be making, I'm going to ensure that I already have, a top-down camera view so that you do not have to struggle with this. But like I said, just stay with me. See, you want to align the caddy exactly the same place you brought it out from. Make sure everything is aligned and ensure that the cables are out. Otherwise, you have a situation where you are clipping down the cables, the SATA or the power cable, and you do not want that to actually happen. So when that is in place, I'm going to push it down and ensure that this plastic right here is pushed back in place, in which case the caddy is already locked. It's not going to come out exactly where I want it to be. See, at this point, I can then go ahead and replace it. But like I said, I do not want this, this SATA HDD drive on this PC. So I'm going to go ahead and take it out. I think that should be an easy thing to do. I'm going to slack that a little bit and try to bring it out and see, because this PC anyhow already has a, an NVMe, a much faster NVMe SSD, and there's just no reason why I should still, have this line here. But then, like I said, if you want to use your PC, with a HDD drive or even a SATA SSD drive and also an NVMe drive on the same PC because you have need for space and stuff like that, this is very, very possible, and this is one of the things that endears me to this PC right here. See, the SSD is out. It's a 256GB SSD. I do not need that Samsung, but once again, this thing also has become, like gold in the recent times. I'm going to go ahead and replace the caddy just like that. Push it down. You see, the clipping sound is one of the best things that you need to watch out for. When you hear that, you are pretty much sure that everything is exactly where you want them to be. Guys, this is where we're going to be leaving it. The next thing you want to do is to make sure that you are actually, placing your cables properly. Everything is back the way you took them out. And if you have done that correctly, you can then go ahead, and replace the front blend. You do not want to forget this, otherwise your piece is going to be looking a little bit wonky. You want to take that, push it back in just like that. Once again, you have to be careful to ensure that nothing is broken in the process. You press that in, that makes that clipping sound, and this also does that as well. And if that is the case, your piece is going to be looking smooth, looking fresh, because you have just succeeded in upgrading, a small form factor PC, a Dell Precision small form factor PC at that, with a 1TB NVMe SSD as well as the 2GB of DDR4 RAM. If the video has helped you, you know what we do on the channel. Please go and be subscribed, click on the like button. Until I see you again in the next one, peace.